Hi everyone, the Lone Wolf here, and welcome to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the market in EVE Online. Now, a couple of service announcements. First of all, don't forget your gifts. You have until January 11th to redeem them. So yeah, don't forget it. I haven't done it yet because I want to redeem them in Dixie, so I need a right exit. But think about your gifts. Don't forget them. It would be quite a waste. And also, CCP is currently working hard on revamping how corporations work. So if you run a corporation, head over to the general forums. They actually ask for your feedback and your ideas when it comes to revamping corporations. So I actually think that if you have experience in that and you have good ideas, that it's really a good idea to share your thoughts with CCP. Of course, we are here for the market, so we will jump right in with plex, and that is at 55 seconds. And 842, well, they were 845 just a few minutes ago, so there is some selling competition going on. That's at least good to see, but we are coming into what looks like some sideways movement at around 830, 840 price mark, which is okay. At least it's lower than what it was before, but it's, yeah, we've of course seen lower plexes. On the other hand, of course, I do think that a higher average price is to be expected over time. Inflation is a thing in any game economy, I think, and even here in EVE Online, you know, the aim for CCP is still to have a little bit of inflation, and thus gradually it is normal for plex to go higher. But it's good to see that we're no longer that close to the 1 billion price point for a plex anymore. And if prices can indeed normalize here, that would be very good, I think, for anyone that wants to plex their account. And there seems to be some competition. I mean, I was looking at 845 million, so probably this order right here, 845,998 is the one I saw. And all of these, yeah, like less than 5 minutes. All of these have come in here, and there's even one that's selling 8 plexes for 842. So it's good to see that there is some action on the sell orders, that people are actually bringing plexes to the market to convert into ISK, because supply was of course one of the major drivers behind those very steep increases in price for plex. So it's here, but don't expect to see plex back down to like 500 million or 300 million anytime soon. I honestly do feel it's a little bit easier in EVE Online to make money at the moment than it was like a few years ago, and thus, yeah, and a higher normal price, I think, is here to stay for plexes. But at least we're out of that 1 billion range, which I think a lot of people would find quite a bit too high. Let's move on to minerals then. We'll start off here with titanium, which is obviously starting to flatten, and I'll write down 3 minutes for that. So maybe I'll quickly go for the 1 month chart. Yeah, obviously we're starting to normalize here at around the 6.2 ISK for titanium. Yeah, pretty big order just above that, and there is still good demand. Look at that, 2 billion units, but 82 days, so that's probably an older order that is keeping the price. Yep, thank you for the shutdown warning. So that's probably just something that's putting a little bit of a floor on the price, and that's keeping the price above 6.10, 6.20, around there for the sell orders. But if this gets chewed through, and this buy order, then of course you could start to see lower prices. So that's really going to be the trigger, I think. We do still see pretty big numbers here, 600,000, 500,000. But if the market ever chews through this big buy order, yeah, look out below. Titanium might then really start to go down a little bit. Let's have a look at pyrite. Excuse me. Pretty similar situation here for pyrite, also obviously starting to flatten out here at the 12 ISK mark. 20-day moving average still going up a little bit. That needs to do some catching up, but it does look like the mineral market is going to go into a slower phase here. You're also seeing decent supply still coming in, 51 and 58 million here, 35, 60, one of 140 million units. standing guard right there at the 11.83 price mark, but yeah, it's much more balanced, and so a sideways period I think is possible. And if you ever see some of those really big orders that are putting a floor on the minerals go away or start to get chewed on by the market, look out below. Here again, Mexalon, very similar stuff at around 61.5 ISK. Let's have a quick look at supply here. 1.46 billion, and here 1 million units, 1.6, 3.6 million units. You know, that's a lot more imbalanced. And here we've got 12 million, 18, but over here we've got a 47 million unit buy order. So again, one that is going to keep the price decently stable. But if you ever see that one disappear, yep, that's when it's time to pay some more attention to the market. And be careful if you actually hold any of that stuff. Here is the isogen. Yeah, still try to go up until 128, but now it's also going to stabilize. If we see where the 20 and the 5-day moving average might meet around 125, I think for us isogen is something we can expect if we do end up in a more stable market. So 4 million here, 6 million here, but we've got another 6 million right here. So again, yeah, I do think that the price is going to stabilize for all of these high-sec minerals right here. It's definitely looking like that on both the charts and the supply-demand numbers. Do we have any really big underpinning buy orders here? Not so much, honestly. 10 million, a couple of them. But you also see 7 million coming in here for the sellers, 12 million right here at a higher price. So yeah, isogen, maybe that's why it's a bit more volatile, because it doesn't have that underpinning buy order supporting the price. Let's take a look at some more expensive minerals then. Here is Noxium, also flattening out at 600 right here. So it's all really looking like it's going to stabilize for the mineral market for the time being. Here we've got 3.4, here we get 1 million units, 2 million. Again, that seems decently stable. Let's jump right into Megasite then. Which is also stabilizing at around the 800 price mark. So Megasite, Noxium and Zydrine all new very low prices. They reached their bottom and now they're finally starting to stabilize a little bit higher because of the jump up when the Iceboxer change was mentioned. But yeah, Zydrine 440, something like that. That's pretty low. Look at the margin here. 441.66 for the buyers, 441.95 for the sellers. That's really razor thin. There's no margin there whatsoever. So 441 is the price for Zydrine, whether you buy them straight off the markets or if you want to try and pick them up on the buy orders. That's really nothing, and that's not something we've seen very often. So then supply demand comes a little bit into play here. And that's where you have to watch out for the stabilization to end. But honestly, right now it's all looking like pretty much sideways for all of the minerals, which is not something we've seen very often. Here is then the Megasite chart again. You can clearly see it. Supply demand 1.6 million. There's still decent supply even at these prices. 782 for the buyers, 798 for the sellers. That's not a lot of margin here either, and for the Noxium margin could be interesting. 586 to 602, that's also very small, but the Zydrine one is really quite exceptional, with just 0.3 ISK difference between the sellers and the buyers. That's something we've not seen very often. Anyways, let's take a look at some Tech 1 chips then. 845 for that. And those should also, oh well, here the Caracal, little jump up here. It's probably starting to go down. The normal price for a Caracal would be 10.5. Look at that, it's already back down to 10.8 with big supply numbers, 125, 110. So someone came in, bought Caracal fleet, but the industrialists, the people that produce Caracals, are ready to take advantage of any real increase in price here, and so it's going to come back down to 10.5 very soon, I think in the upcoming week already. So you may still be able to sell some Caracals at slightly higher prices, but it's not going to last very long. Here is the Dominic's chart, pretty damn stable at 190, which is I think a normal price for the Dominics. If I go for a slightly longer chart, you can see that the 190 mark is where either the chart is a little bit above that, a little bit below that, but on average this is a normal price, and a market where reactions to anything that happens are very, very swift. Let's go back for the 1 month chart here. This is the Drake taking off just a little bit. Let's have a quick look at supply demand then. Yeah, here 21 demand, 14 demand, supply coming in at 50, 18, you know, that's not that bad. Still 50 on average, maybe even more, close to 100 on average. So here the price is going up a little bit, and you may still have time to unload some Drakes at close to 50 million if you are fast here. But again, I do think this is going to be short-lived. The reaction should not be that long. Here is the Myrmidon, 54 million, 50 million for the buy orders. There's 109 of them over here as well. But yeah, average was actually closer to 48 for the rest of the month. Let's maybe have a quick look at the 6-month chart to gauge this a little bit better. Yeah, be careful here, you know, it's closer to 50 to 51. That's an actual average for the Myrmidon. This was actually a little bit of a slump here, where I guess, yeah, the price went way up here again very swiftly, very shortly, or a very short time ago. So if you have some Myrmidons to sell, it's probably the right time to do so. But I do suspect you'll have to be fast. I think next week we should see a correction in pretty much all of these. Here is the Rupture, pretty much stable. And then finally the Talos, that is pretty much as stable as it gets right there at the 71 million price mark. So Tech One market still healthy and very much able to react to anyone buying a lot of them or any oversupply. People seem to know what they're doing when it comes to that, and thus, yeah, the average price is there, well established at the moment, and it doesn't look like that's going to change with stable mineral prices either. Moving on to some Tech 2 ships then, 1150. Let's see if we've got some trade opportunity. This is the Basilisk. Look at that. That's really awesome for people that are looking to make some trade money. Starting at 165, so you could have picked them up at that. Pretty nice spike up to 200 million, 35 million markup on the Basilisk, not bad. And here is the correction back down, and now we have data points 169, 175, so it's still a little bit too high to say that we're back in buy opportunity, but this is how you make some trade money, is when you see charts like this. So pretty awesome. Here is the Guardian, actually pretty low, close to 130. Are the buy orders below 130? Yep, if you can pick one up or a few up below 130, you're probably having a good deal there. If you look at the previous spikes in the last 6 months, you can expect to be able to sell them at like 160, 165 on the right opportunity if you time it correctly. So pretty good here. Here is the Hound chart. Also new a nice sell opportunity in the last few weeks here at 22 million, finally going back down a little bit. 19 million already for the buy orders, not bad, but you can probably pick them up closer to 18, still 19, that's quite okay. Here is the Manticore charts. That one is taking off quite nicely. Look at that double spike in the makings right here, with a very low price point of 19 million reached, what would that be, first half of November, and now we are looking at Manticore selling at 28. The market is empty. If you can produce or bring Manticores to the market, it's the time to do so. Here is the Nemesis, also in its correction phase after a nice little spike from 19 million up to 23 million, so 4 million on something that you buy for 19, not bad. Here is the Nighthawk, a command ship. It's stabilizing, but it's still too high for my wallet to say that this is investment worthy. It's also been too stable compared to what it was like last year, where you had big spike from, you can still see one there, 240 up to 280. That's decent. Over here it's just too stable and still too high to invest in Nighthawks or command ships at the moment. Here's the Oneros chart. Unfortunately, it's also looking like it's going to stabilize just above the 160. That is getting a reskin, so keep that one in mind. That could be useful information. It might take off because of that, but honestly I don't really think so. And I'd like to see it closer to 140 to say you have a buying opportunity than where it's at the moment. Here's the Purifier, very nice double spike again here, starting close to 17 million, spike up to 19.5, and now it's taking off almost 21.2 million for purifiers when you could have bought them for 17. So these are the opportunities you need to keep an eye out for. And this purifier spike, though coming off of a little bit of a plateau at 19, may be somewhat unexpected still if you compare this to the other stealth bombers, to the other covered up frigates. This is actually a more normal spike with a more normal bottom than the one closer to 17 million. So this was probably a bit of an outlier, maybe some temporary oversupply or something like that causing this to happen. But I do think we'll see the chart normalize like the other covered ups at like 19 million as a normal floor, and then some spikes up there when people coming to buy some pretty large covered up fleets. And here is finally the scimitar chart. This is really starting to be interesting. Do we have buy orders? Yeah, 136 for buy order for a scimitar, 140 for a sell order. Anything in between that, honestly, I don't think it's that bad. If you look at these spikes, 170, 175, and here 160. Pretty interesting if you're actually looking to make some investments for your trade money. So yeah, there we go, guys. That Tech 2 market, always interesting. I do think you find opportunities in it almost every single week. So pretty good stuff. 16-15, we'll have a look at some Tech 3 ships. We'll start off with the Confessor. That is of course going down quite drastically. You're already paying 160 million for a Confessor, so that people are being able to bring their production to bear once they discover the blueprint copies, or once they find the right raw material. You research that into a blueprint copy. We have in fact found a few of those in our C1 last week, and that's actually worth quite a pretty penny still. So we tried to sell them. We'll see if we were successful or not. But those supply lines for the Confessor are going to come online quite a bit more quickly than the Mordus ships or the Sisters of Eve ships, and so expect a more normal price. I think I read something like 50 or 60 million for cost of a Confessor, so expect it to be just above that, actually decently soon, a couple more weeks, and I actually think we'll get there. Buy orders already at 121, which is honestly, this is affordable even at these prices. If you really want to fly a Confessor, this is almost okay to spend that kind of money on a ship that's going to be pretty rare at the moment still, but I think it's going to go down close to production cost very soon. Here is the Legion. The Legion is still taking off quite nicely, 220 supply. Yeah, it's pretty limited, so I do think someone came in and purchased a lot of Legions here, but if you look at the numbers on the sell orders coming in, people are trying to get rid of their stocks. Look at that, 37, 10, 7, and 6. The buy orders 1, 2, 1, 5. That's quite a difference. And so I do still feel that someone made another move on the Legions, but that supply is going to come in and crush all of this pretty soon. Here is the Loki, 21, 8, 10. And what is that chart? That chart is starting to stop going up here. It's starting to hesitate, and so 210 back down towards 200 million with bigger supply than demand numbers. Be careful there. Here's the Proteus. That one is still taking off, but 10, 8, 5, 14, 5 compared to the buy orders. Yeah, supply is ready to come in and take advantage of these prices. Here is the Tengu. That one is obviously going down. The culprit right there, 165 Tengus brought to the market in one go. Look at this, 15, 33, 11, 165, 12 and 10, and all of them less than an hour old. That's amazing. So this move is going to happen, I do think so. Of course, you never know. I did see in the recon post that the Tech 3 rebalancing is going to be a part of their intentions when it comes to the recon rebalancing as well. So it shouldn't be that long, and maybe people are actually making their moves expecting the Tech 3 rebalance to come. But the big supply, that is a reality that I think is going to put a damper on this increase in price that the Tech 3 ships have enjoyed. So be careful, I would say, when it comes to the Tech 3 market. because there are a lot of uncertainties. I'm seeing very high prices, but I'm also seeing these big supply numbers coming in, and I think that the industrialists can react to this with very big numbers, and there is a tech tree rebalance in the pipeline. What is CCP's philosophy behind that? We don't entirely know just yet. And so yeah, it's a very difficult market to gauge. Of course, I do think it's going to be quite normal for people that produce them to want to take advantage of these decently high prices at the moment. I mean, they've been 130 million just a few months ago. Being able to sell them at 240 or 200 million is, I think, something anyone producing tech trees is going to grab with both hands. So yeah, tech tree market's pretty interesting, but people know how to produce this stuff, including the confessor, and so expect big supply in my opinion. And then finally we'll go for the recon chips 2030. For that, obviously those are getting a rebalance, and yeah, if people actually like it, we do usually see a pretty big jump up in the price. So advanced cruisers, recon ships, we'll start right away with the curse for the MR. Obviously people do like the curse, and here is the Pilgrim also. Ooh, but it's a double spike right there for Tech 2 variation, but are we really looking at close to 200? Yeah, 191, 92 for Pilgrim, more closer to 200 actually. And here's the curse. That one is pretty much empty and fitting. Something I was curious about. Yeah, 4 low slots. Honestly, when it comes to this recon rebalance, is it gonna be a PvP buff or a PvE buff? I'm not entirely sure, and so anyone with ideas, feel free to post them. Here is the Falcon. That one already went up, maybe with the new model. Look at that, looks pretty damn amazing. And here is the Rook. That it's no more Rooks. 240. Yeah, that's obviously a pretty big move on that. So people do seem to love. Here is the Arazu. Even some Galente ones that are really not that popular are taking off. You're looking at 268 million for a Lachesis and 195 for an Arazu. So pretty high prices. Here is the Hugin, also similar spike up. And here is the Rapier finally. Current price for Rapier 180. That's actually still okay, normal with other spikes, but with the announcements, of course, the big move, yeah, Curse, Pilgrim right there, Falcon, Rook, pretty damn high. Look at the Rook. That's actually started at 140 and at 244 million. Yeah, that's quite a lot. So some of them, yeah, people do expect them to be used quite a lot. And if I look at this, this is where I'm going to ask my question for this Eve Talk. I think, do you think that this being invisible on this scan is going to be used offensively in PvP or in PvE? And if I look at the types, I actually feel that it's more a PvE buff, because something like the Curse, it's a drone ship. Which explorers actually do really enjoy. It's got 4 low slots. You could max stab that baby to hell, and then you could do relic sites, data sites, small combat signatures in dangerous space, pretty much being invisible even while doing those sites. And this is why I think that it's stuff like the Curse for drones. And the Rook, is the Rook a missile boat? Let me have a quick look at that. Yep, 5 launchers, traits, heavy missile, heavy assault missile, you know. A couple Rooks can probably do wormhole sights against sleepers, especially with increased resist and stuff like that, and be completely invisible. So honestly, I don't think it's so much a problem when it comes to PvP, because you could do what these ships can do when it comes to that with a Tech 3, a covered up Tech 3 ships, just as easily. No, I feel that the real buff is for the PvE use, the extra use of these recon ships in being invisible while doing your hacking, while doing your combat site or whatever. And this is why I do think that it's the drones and the missile ships that have known the biggest increase, because those are the perfect weapon systems for the PvE content. So that's my thought on it. Feel free to post your thoughts in the comments. But yeah, a lot of the first reaction is, wow, that shouldn't be in the game. That gives that person too big an advantage when it comes to PvP. But My thoughts on this mechanic and not being visible on this scan is that it's going to have the exact opposite effect. These ships are going to be used for something they've never been used for before, exploration, and it's going to increase risk averse exploration activities. I just think that that's going to be the end result of this rebalance. Let me know what you think in the comments, but it's pretty obvious that a lot of people are buying these like crazy. What they're bought for, that's of course up to them individually, but those are my thoughts on it. Yeah, it's quite substantial. I mean, 100 million more for a Rook, that's a lot of money you could have made if you were fast enough. I didn't make my move on that because of my thought process behind it. I actually don't think it's going to do that much when it comes to PvP or ambushes or stuff like that, but I may be wrong, of course. Again, feel free to post your comments below. Thank you very much for watching, guys. That's it for this Eve Talk, and I'll see you all next time.